how can someone make a great product, and would love for you to tell the story of how you came about getting the pieces together to build the Tecovas boot, like the manufacturer. I believe you went down to Mexico,
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah, well, deciding to get into boots was a journey of it in its own right, and I think if I had to give advice to someone who is really passionate about consumer businesses, wants to create a product themselves, first thing I tell them is reconsider. It's a hard business. Everyone wants to be in consumer because everyone is a consumer, and it's sexy and it's cool, and everyone thinks that because you relate to a brand, oh, I can make that too. And maybe I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite, but I might at least understand what you're getting into, because it is hard, it is competitive as hell. The margins are not amazing. You have to pay up front to make product and before you sell it most of the time. So it is a hard business. But if you are really committed to that hard journey, which power to you, I certainly was, I'd start with your backyard, and I'd start with what do you like. That you need to be an expert on something. If you get ready to dive in, and maybe dive in for a decade or two, because this isn't going to be a little 1, 2, 3 year journey. This is going to be, if you're successful, what are you going to be? You're going to be the leading witness to your category. You're going to be the person who knows it better than anyone else. And so you got to be prepared to dive deep. So my personal advice would make it fun. Make it something that you love already. I loved boots. I was not a enthusiast, I would say. I was not a collector. I was someone who, for boots for me culturally, meant connection to my home, to Texas. And every time I left Texas, I started wearing boots more. When I went to college in Boston, I started wearing boots almost every day my senior year. When I moved to New York, I started wearing boots every single time I went out in New York City.
You must have got some looks out there.
You do get some looks, but as a Texan, it's a good thing to get those looks sometime for the right reasons, right? For a good pair of ostrich boots, which is what I was wearing around town.
Almost like a foreigner.
Yeah, that's right. We called ourselves Texpats, actually. All the Texans who lived in New York City. So that was really when I literally had a moment. I'm like, all right, well, let me think about products. I looked down at my feet. I was wearing my ostrich boots. In fact, they looked almost exactly like that pair right there. A little darker. They were more of a chocolate color. But I was like, these are the most expensive shoes I own. These may be the most expensive article of clothing I own. And then I started thinking about the experience. I'm like, oh, wait, I had to go back home to Dallas to get it. I had to go to a Western sort of department store. I'm thinking about the experience. And for me, it was fine. I was used to it. I knew what it was like to buy boots. But I bet if any one of my colleagues here sitting in these cubicles next to me went, they would be overwhelmed. They wouldn't know where to start. They don't know what the shapes are. Why are they different prices? What are these little dots on the leather? Why is this leather different from that one? And I realized that there wasn't an approachable way to buy boots. And so I started, thinking about the different aspects of what makes a great brand. And I realized there was a gap for high quality, comfortable, well-made, and fairly priced boots. And so that's when I started thinking about, all right, where are the best boots in the world made? I was very lucky in that there was one place to go. There was a city in Mexico called León, which with my research and calling some people in the industry, I found a Texas Monthly article from 20 years ago and found a list of custom boot makers all around town. I caught a lot of the numbers. Unfortunately, a lot of them weren't connected anymore. I'm afraid the owners may have passed away, but some people picked up the phone, and I was able to get some advice from people. And they basically said, making boots is really hard, but if you're going to do it, there's only one place to go. And so I flew to Mexico. I had a PowerPoint presentation with a placeholder brand name in it, not Tecovas. I used my consulting skills to make a PowerPoint. I got one meeting with the factory by emailing their information line. I was only able to find one factory on the internet. And then that factory rejected me, but sent me across the street and to their cousin or something, and ended up starting out developing boots with them. Eventually actually made our way back into partnering with that original factory. For what I knew at the time, they were the best one to work with, and now they actually make the plurality of our boots. But I was honestly just throwing my feet first into the pool, and I did not open the PowerPoint presentation But I used my Spanish. I had to brush up on my Spanish. I was sort of broke in fluency, and just figured it out.